Hey. Hey, 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 hey. Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may eventually.
Mics are hot. All right, thank y'all so much. Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. We are now 2 weeks into January, right? Holy cow! Before y'all know it, it'll be the summertime. But until then, we have winter all the way until summer.
Yeah, it's gonna be long.
Yeah,
It started so late.
yeah, it's gonna be a long winter. So welcome to Freestyle Sunday. So today, if y'all can do me a favor really quick, everybody press the share button. We want to give people an opportunity to tune in and watch. You're watching the Urban Impact Show. We are here because of people like you. There is absolutely nothing that we can do or we can say besides thank you for tuning in and watching us every single week, for sharing this information and for putting out this stuff. Shout out to the team. You got Hal, you got Matt King, our engineer who does all of the behind the scenes stuff. Shout out to all of the hosts. One shout out to one of our hosts who is out at Mayo Clinic right now, Mr. Lewis Fountain. Shout out to him. We're sending nothing but prayers his way. There is a way. They are in need of gift cards and donations and stuff like that. It's a long road to recovery, and so anything that you all could give to help out in that situation. Dewana, you had some info on that, right?
Yes, during one of our breaks, we'll be flashing that information through. There's going to be, I know some people at Johnston Library that will be there to collect gift cards. That's what they're asking for right now.
Yes.
Gift cards to get them through
the
next so many months. And so we're encouraging you to take part in that.
And look, nothing is too small. Let me tell you, a $5 Starbucks gift card will go a long way. $10 gas card, Hy-Vee card. Because y'all got to remember, they're staying at an Airbnb. They have to get food and groceries. He has to eat. And he can't work right now. There's nothing he can do. I don't know if y'all saw the picture of him. All of his hair is now gone. And so please, whatever you could do, that's family for us. And so we want to make sure that we're shouting him out. What's up, B? How you doing?
Doing well. Trying to stay warm, but doing well.
How's the family, man? So the new baby and everything, how's that?
He's a grown man. He ain't no new baby.
That is too funny.
No, they're good. They're doing really well.
I got a lot to look forward to. I'm trying to learn from all of y'all because Eli's 2 months now. Officially on the 7th, he became 2 months, and it's so crazy. When Matt does his video, y'all will see all of his transitions.
Isn't that crazy? Like, think about the baby when he first came out to now. It's like, this looks like a different baby. Like, that's what I thought with my son. Like, he came out a certain color, his hair was a certain way, and then now he looks like a totally different baby than like the newborn.
I just
videos.
want him to remain looking like me.
He's gonna go through his stages.
Whatever stage he go through. I want his stage to remain looking.
His mom is beautiful.
Look like
you
me.
Want him to look like a good mixture of both.
I want him to look like me.
Yes.
I want him to look like me.
Then he'll be 17 one day, and you'll be looking at him like I'm looking at my son now.
Imani turns 17 tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah. Like, you just look at him now. I'm looking at my son. I just watched him walk past me today, and he's 16, he's 17 this year, and I'm like, that time just goes so quickly.
Yeah.
You're just watching him just
grow up. So
I got a topic that I want to kick us off with today, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know everybody was talking about what happened, and I don't know if y'all saw it or saw what happened with Al Wumble, Ross Wilburn, Ross Smith, and who else? Phyllis Thiede was on the line as well. Y'all know that they had a Zoom. For those who don't know, they had a Zoom call, and some racist people decided to jump on and start basically attacking them. And my thing was like, you waited, you logged in, you got on, just so you can be a disruptor.
That took a lot of effort. Like, who takes that much effort to be negative?
And the crazy part is, y'all did the interview with Ross Wilburn, just last month, at
Smoky Row when we were there,
where they and I'm about to say the word because I think it needs to be said, and I don't know if Matt may bleep it out or not, but I don't know. But they're calling this man a nigger. They're flat out calling him that, and then on top of that, they're using it in such a way where it's almost violence, where it's trying to incite violence and be violent towards him with words. And then they went as far as to say that they was going to hang him. They were going to hang him. I remember when Al and I were on the road, and I don't know if Al ever discussed this, but when Al and I was on the road, I remember a guy walks in, we're sitting at a table, doing voter registration. A guy walks in. He has a .45 revolver on his hip. He walks in. He looks at Al and I. He says, "What are you boys doing around here?"
Oh, jeez.
In 2021.
And y'all know me. I'm in my mind. I'm trying to decide. Do I meet him on this level? Like where am I about to go? So I stand there for a moment because I'm trying to gather my thoughts. And Al says, "Well, sir, we're just here doing voter registration." He looks Al in the face and he says, "I said, what are you boys doing around here?"
Wow.
And I'm like, wow.
That takes a lot of self-control to when someone talks to you.
Yeah.
Not only that, Al and I we were in Grinnell, Iowa. We were doing a voter registration. We were doing voter registration at the park. Next thing you know, we're being surrounded by a group of white pickup trucks with white men in them, staring us down. Just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Another time, we're down at the sculpture park. We're having an event at the sculpture park. Next thing you know, a whole bunch of supporters of a certain president pull up. And they just start just throwing insults at us.
In 2021, 2020, 2021.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I mean, at this point, I am tired of people telling Black folks how to feel or how to handle these moments.
Right.
We always have to be the bigger person.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Now, if I slapped you in the mouth,
I'm wrong.
I'm wrong.
Right.
But you wanted, this is the reaction you wanted.
Right.
So you can be like, see, look how he's acting.
Yeah.
These are the type of people that we shouldn't have. Like, this is, he wants you to be the angry Black woman, wants us to be angry Black man, wants us to be angry Black woman. But it's like, I always have a philosophy of saying, like, you have to be the bigger person when you are the bigger person.
Yeah. And this has happened.
Say that again.
Say it again.
Like I feel like I would say to myself, I always have to be the bigger person because I am the bigger person. So I always think that in my head, like you gotta be the bigger person because you are the bigger person. Someone low is someone who's acting like disrespectful, throwing that type of language. So they're already lower than you.
Yeah.
That's the HR in her coming out.
It is. That is all of that coming out of her. I'm like,
Brittany's here because I say the most outlandish things.
But no, you got to be the bigger person because you are the bigger person in most situations.
Yeah,
I've always said
sometimes
that.
I really want to slap them.
But
don't
would you get?
Most of us want to.
Self gratification.
Be the bigger. No, but you're gonna feel awful after slapping somebody.
But
especially because of who you are.
You know where
You
you
got to
at.
think about that.
I get that, but I mean, like, but we got to keep it. I know, but let's keep it real. Like, I get that way. Like, literally, I think the scenario goes. I see it in my brain. I see me actually having this reaction that would give me complete satisfaction. But it does go back to, you know, but I don't want to act in that way. But it's easy. But I'm thinking it. I'm thinking
anybody
it.
watching this, if anybody watching this ever said to themselves, "Oh no, I've never wanted to slap somebody or punch somebody in the face," you lying to yourself.
A few times a week.
Hit me up. Hit me up if that's the way you think. Okay, hit me up if that's the way you think.
I need to know
what's the secret.
What you drinking.
No, a few times a week, I think.
Oh yeah, but this is just getting
stuff.
This is just getting tiring because this is not this is the second time this has happened, Al, as he's done this. So this happened last year as well when he was doing the same thing, bringing Black legislators together and having a conversation. And so at this point, it just gets tiring to have to bring this up. And I always say this: if there's anyone that doesn't think this stuff happens, like, no one's making this stuff up. This is something that we live with day in and day out, and it gets really tiring of walking in our skin and having to put up with the words of other people or having folks, like, it's our reality. And I don't know, like, for the life of me, if it ever goes away. Like, is this something we continue to deal with? I know there's people that go, oh, it gets better, but when?
Does it really though?
When does it get better? That's for me what I struggle with, is when does this get better? Because we're continuing to have the same conversations. And I'm a big person of having conversations. Well, let's just sit down and talk about it. But at the end of the day, people are tired of having those kinds of conversations. They want you just to fix your behavior.
I don't want Eli, Miguel, Sheldon, Isaiah. I don't want. What's your youngest son?
Richie.
I don't want this for them.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Jamarcus. I don't want this for them.
Yeah.
And they are growing up in a space that literally hates them.
And they don't, the sad thing is they don't even realize it yet.
No.
You know, my son going to Johnston schools,
Yeah.
you know, like, he does not at all realize, like, the reality of things, you know, like, sometimes when people do stuff to him or things happen and I question him, like, well, how did they act? How did that make you feel? And you know, was it said like that to someone else? And, like, he has no idea.
And, you know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I have to have those conversations with my son. You know, he goes to a private school and I have to tell his friends, like, when he is with you, I'm holding you all responsible for him. That if he gets stopped by the police, I need you to speak up for him. I need you to protect him because when he leaves my space, that control as a parent is gone. I have to tell him, don't put that hood on your head. You know, don't have your music up too loud. When you get, like, I share these things with my son, and I shouldn't have to have these conversations
like,
with him.
You're scared when your son leaves.
Because I'm putting fear in him. You know, I shouldn't, as a parent, have to put fear in my child to say, these are the things I need you to do. Because why? Society says these things happen to you. Now, my prayer is you never have to experience it. But I'll never forget a time he had a situation happen, and I'm not going to be too specific, but something happened, and he got so scared. Instead of waiting for the police to come, he drove himself home to me so he could just say, what do I do? Like, he was so nervous about even having that encounter that he flew home first. And I had to say, don't ever do that again. Like, just, if that's the case, call me so I can get to you. But that's because he's seen the images and the pictures and the things that have happened that it's ingrained in him.
And that's so unfair.
And it's just unfair. Like, how many people that don't look like us have to live with that? You know, you're not having those conversations. You're not having those conversations with your kids.
My thing is also because it's not just interactions with the police, right?
Yeah.
My fear is, you know, thank God he's at a in-home daycare with somebody that you know that knows us and loves on him. But my fear is, what if we had to put him in a place is that person who thinks like that racist cop or that racist legislator.
Right.
Like, what if that was the what if that person was at the center?
Yeah.
You know, what if that person was at what if that person was at the center? What about these people who are teaching our babies on a daily basis right here in our school system, right? Who think a certain way. Because a little black boy is bigger than everybody else in his class, but yet he's still the same age as them.
Yeah.
But he's looked at differently, right? A toy in his hand is looked at as a weapon instead of a toy in his white child, in his white child's counterpart,
or
right?
even the way, you know, like I've had to have conversations, and granted my son's in middle school, but even kindergarten, first grade, like I'm going to conferences, it's like we have to make sure that they know, like, no, they have support. I'm going to every conference. I'm responding to every single email because I want you to know that Miguel has support. But
speaking of that support, when you go to the doctor, you almost gotta advocate harder and fight harder for your child. For them to look into something more and not just toss it up to you just being, you know, an overprotective or anal parent. No. Something is wrong with his stomach.
Keep checking.
He's not just a baby. Something is wrong. Look at this and tell me what's going on. You know what? If you don't want to do it now,
take him somewhere else.
Now I gotta go to 3-4 doctors. For y'all to look at what's going on with this baby. Now I gotta make sure and take time off of work and advocate and do all of this stuff, right? And it's like, what's going on?
Right.
One thing that I was saying is like even how they are looking at our children, you know, for different things. Like I remember going to parent teacher conferences and I'm asking all the questions like, is he doing this good? Is he doing, you know, you're pointing out like, oh, well, he's really fast at PE and he's one of the fast, and I had to stop the teacher. Like, I don't care about his athletic ability. I know he has 2 parents that play D1 sports, so he's naturally talented, you know, as an athlete. I don't care about those things, but am I asking you how he's doing? I don't want to hear that. I'm talking about how is he doing in the classroom. But it's like they focus on, oh, well, black kids are great athletes, so he's, you know, I don't care if he has an A in PE. That's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
That's
a whole topic of discussion.
But
that's
it's like
a whole
we have
topic.
but they have to know
or the
that
language of, oh, he's a good boy.
Wait
it. Whoa.
Right. But we have to. That's why we got to let them know. Like I had to correct her. Like those are not the questions. Those aren't the questions I'm asking. Like he has parents who are here 150% for him. You know, like I always made it a point of me and his dad are going to be present at these parent teacher conferences. If anything's going on, contact both of us. Like it's like we overly got to show them. Like no, this black child has support.
That's how that's how I am about this one.
Right.
Like like I took one look at that boy's face and I said, ain't nobody gonna raise him but me.
Because if you let them play with you, they're gonna play with you. So you got to know.
I didn't have that father figure, right? Like I didn't have that male presence. Now I had like mentors and uncles and stuff like that, but I didn't have that constant male presence in my life that created that balance between what my mother was offering and then this masculine energy that I could receive. I didn't have that. But my mom did her best. She did her best. Man, I took one look at that boy. I said, oh no. I don't care what happens between the adults. He's going to know his father. Right. And I don't care what all of the stuff on social media, what the church or anybody else got to say, this boy gonna know his daddy.
And he's gonna know me as daddy.
And he's gonna he gonna feel my energy and my presence when I'm in the room. And he's gonna know. Yeah, look, y'all don't want me to call my dad, because if I call my daddy,
it ain't gonna be
coming
good.
with my aunties,
and everybody.
And it's a lot of them.
And you know, going back to what I said, that people, they need to know that children have that. Because they will treat your child differently. If they don't think that they have supportive parents, people are going to be fighting for them 150%. And so it's like we got to let them know that.
I'm not going to play about this one. And you know, and even, and here's another key piece to this. in the school system, we have, I don't know what they call them, IEPs.
Yep, IEPs. Yep.
These IEPs and stuff like that, right? Sometimes kids do need more help and stuff like that, right? But you're not going to continuously single this child out just because he or she learns differently.
Right.
That's not what we're going to continue. Every child doesn't have ADD or ADHD.
Right.
As a teacher, you're going to spend time to figure out and teach instead of just trying to
the boy.
diagnose, like, oh, he's not getting it, so he has that.
Teach the boy.
Like, no.
Teach her. You know what I'm saying? It's different. Like they learn different, and it's you, the teacher. You
Think
figure it
about
out.
us as leaders. You have a team. Everyone is coached and led differently.
True.
You don't do it all the same way. That's not going to be successful.
True.
Same thing with children.
But now we're adding the layer of COVID in the mix with education.
that's
And it's
taking
making things as a teacher so much more challenging because now we've got the mental well-being of both teacher and student now, because now we're trying to figure out how are we teaching students in the midst of COVID.
But that's why parents and teachers are going to have to partner, more now than ever they have ever have. Like, it's so important for you to be on the same page as like the teacher and parent for your kids' education.
Yeah.
Or they're going to fall behind.
Yeah. And I mean, we could spend forever talking about COVID and education and how the challenges of COVID has changed now because it's taken a mental toll
We're
on
gonna have
us.
to talk about it right after
More
this.
than than in, because Iowa is one of the states that we have seasonal depression. So add in seasonal depression with COVID, with learning, with like that's a lot of pressure on kids and adults.
Right. And we're putting the pressure on everyone to come through. And for teachers, just being a former teacher, I could not imagine teaching right now at this moment in time where I'm taking on my own issues that are going on in my own family on top of coming, because this is most teachers. Most teachers, every single one of those kids in that classroom they care about as if they're their own. We have a very small amount who we can have these conversations if they don't care, but the majority of them do. So you've got that on top of COVID, on top of worrying about your kids. Do they have the things they need to eat? On top of, are they being sick? So there's so much going on right now that that'd be another topic for another day, but definitely talking about the impacts that COVID's had on education.
Well, as soon as we get back from this break, we're gonna dive more into this whole COVID piece because I think we have to address that because COVID has we're gonna have to dive into this mental health and COVID piece as soon as we get back from this break. Just so you all know, we are live from the studio. It is available for booking for private events if you would like. Again, you're watching the Urban Impact Show. We are live from the studio right here. Where are we?
We are in Windsor Heights.
We're in Windsor Heights.
Yes, we are.
I was going to say Urban on Clyde, but we're right here at the studio in Windsor Heights.
Yes.
Again, it is available for private events or booking. You can call 515-996-0326. Again, if you would like to book this space for private events, you can call 515-996-0326. I'm thinking about having my birthday here. It's coming up in 2 weeks. And so we'll be right back after
Oh my God.
We'll be right back after this break.
The Urban Impact Show is sponsored by Green and Wood Media Services. Green and Wood uses digital media to help businesses, political campaigns, and organizations grow while increasing their community impact. Green and Wood Media is pleased to offer a digital media buying fellowship to train, develop, and mentor young people interested in digital media, politics, and advertising. Learn more at greenandwoodmedia.com.
All right, we are back from our break. Again, I'm one of your hosts, Brittany Dudley. We're continuing the conversation on COVID and the effects that it's having to the family, to the education. So yeah, let's dive right back in. I guess our last thoughts were talking about the effects of COVID in the classroom and on teachers. And, do you, with all the numbers rising and things like that, do you think that they're going to take the kids back out of school and we're going to go back to a virtual learning? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I just like to kick this off by saying I'm tired of this church.
You've been wanting to say that since the beginning, so I'm glad you got that out. You feel better now?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
Mentally, it's all good.
The whole thing. I'm tired. I'm tired of it.
We're going to have a whole conversation on the church very soon on the Urban Impact Show because Rob's got a lot he needs to say about that. So we're going to preface that now. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's going to happen very soon.
It might be a random...
Maybe next month.
Yeah.
But this whole COVID piece has... It really has taken an effect on our kids. I remember when Sheldon and Sanaya came to live with me when COVID hit because, my sister Chrissy at the time was working. She had to be to work at like 5 a.m. in the morning. These babies were no longer in school. And so she was just trying to she was a single mom trying to figure it out. And so they came to live with me. And I'll never forget, I called Lifetime to let them know I was ready to tell my story. After
Ayanla?
Yeah, I was ready to tell my story after they was with me for a couple months. And so COVID really did a number on them. Like, some of our babies, I'll be honest with you, Dewana and Britt, they don't learn well at home.
Yep.
They don't.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is on school boards and superintendents and all of this other, they have a tough job to make these decisions for the betterment of the whole, which then could literally affect this one individual child in a negative way. But the whole of it is that all of the kids are safe by pushing everybody home, right?
Right.
Or making everybody wear masks or whatever the case may be, the whole of it. And then you have these individual one-offs that we got to figure out, man, like, and if you don't advocate for your child, nobody else will.
Yeah, it's challenging though, and I'll say this just from a school board member perspective. When you're talking about, I know you asked the question of like, being virtual and what are we thinking about? Well, for me, I know in our district, I'm thinking of one superintendent lead. That's a decision that you're going to have to make. I'm trying to get us out of those COVID conversations. We had some horrible COVID conversations in 2020, and a lot of things I don't think we handled well. But I think the ultimate struggle that it comes down to for anyone's district is, one, how do we define safety? Because everyone keeps saying this word, I want my kid to be safe, but what does safe mean? Because am I making them safe by having them stay home, which means they won't maybe catch the virus at school, but they could still catch it from somebody within their home. They could catch it from if they go outside to play. So then are we keeping them safe? Is safe that when they are in school, we're keeping them 6 to 12 feet apart from each other? Is safe that we've got them in masks? So I think the issue becomes everyone sends a letter to me and says, I want you to make this safe. Well, what does safe mean to you? Because it means something totally different to me than it does to you. And so I think what I found last year or in 2020, when we made those decisions, the most challenging part for me was knowing that there were kids who looked like me who were already 2 years behind. So then I was making a decision to halt their learning. And please, teachers, don't take offense. I know that we can learn virtually, but not everyone can. So then I was making a decision to halt that learning to put them further behind and then bring them back into a space where we were bringing them in, we were taking them out. We're bringing them in, we were taking them out. And so I think for me, it's challenging because I'm in a position where I'm never going to make anyone happy. And so for me right now, I'm like, if we can just fight through this and know that, not that this makes anyone feel better, that it seems like this variant is not making people as sick unless you're not, and if you're unvaccinated, that's a whole nother story. But for vaccinated people that do get this, even though it might not be pleasant, it's not putting people in hospitals if you look at the data. But I think the part is, I don't know if I want to go back to a place where our kids are not in school. I had something tragic happen that I'll never forget. that we lost some kids because they were out in the middle of the night. And what I thought to myself were they out because of the decision I made?
Yeah,
because they didn't have to get up and go to school the next day.
You know,
I think
that's really good. I'm so sorry. That's really good for people to hear you say.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we forget that the people in these positions to make these decisions are human beings.
Yeah.
They have children of their own. They have, you know, this is stuff that keeps them up at night, right? Before I do these numbers, you wanted to...
One thing I was just saying with that makes me nervous about going home is like the kids being behind, you know, and it's like they don't, some parents' education level might not even be as high as their children's, so they're not able to help them with this classwork.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of kids thrive off a routine. Putting him in and out of school, you know, that's messing up routine. I know for my son, he fell behind in math because he didn't have, like, he was already behind in math. That's not one of his best subjects, but then not having that one-on-one time and someone to help him. And I'll be honest, I'm not that good in math either. You know, so with me trying to help my son, not having any help with that, it put him behind. And, you know, his dad is very on him all the time about his studies. And I had to tell him, like, you got to show him some grace. It's not his fault because he needs a teacher. He needed a teacher in 2020 and he didn't have that.
No.
So they're trying to understand how to, you know, navigate this being at home and, you know, not in school too. So that's doing a toll on their mental. Plus we're asking them to learn and try to figure it out themselves. That's hard. We have to give these children grace.
And can you imagine teaching a young child to read virtually?
Oh my God.
I mean, like, I'm thinking about, and that was and I'm a former reading teacher, so that always got me, was like, I'm always used to when I'm talking to kids about reading, like, watch my lips, you know, this is how we say the word, this is what it sounds like. But could you imagine being over the screen that has this lag time and you're sitting there trying to teach students how to read virtually?
Lag time because their internet doesn't necessarily
work
in everybody's household. Does every household have internet?
Right.
No.
So they might be at somebody else's house trying to use their internet.
I remember a lady said that she was taking her son to this bus stop that was close to a hospital so that he could log on to the free Wi-Fi from the hospital and sit on that bus stop every day just so he could go to school.
See, that's not...
Just so he could go to school because they didn't have internet at the house.
Yeah.
Let me give you these numbers real quick. So COVID cases, right? Here in Iowa, for those who live in Iowa, we've had a total of 608,000 COVID cases and a total of 8,019 deaths.
And how long is what's the
this has been since this has been since 2020.
Wow.
And so right now, even in where we live in Polk County, 92,000 COVID cases, 872 deaths.
That number is huge.
It's huge.
And the crazy part is when I look at that number in Black Hawk County, the 406 deaths in Black Hawk County, I get a little teary-eyed because one of those is my god sister, Kiali. She was pregnant. COVID ended up putting her in a coma. She gave birth in the coma. And when she gave birth, she never came out of the coma. She never had the chance to meet her brand new baby, and she died a couple weeks later
from COVID.
She was 28 from COVID.
Jeez.
She was 28 years old. Kiali Miller, and right there in Waterloo. And I'll never forget. I had to do her funeral. It was the hardest funeral that I've ever preached in my life. I couldn't. There was just moments, and so when I look at that, I think to myself, one of those numbers is somebody that I know personally, and she never got the chance to meet her baby, and her baby is now 1 year old.
Wow!
She just celebrated her 1 year old birthday. And you know, my godmom is her mom is obviously raising the baby now, but it's like this girl. COVID put her in a coma.
Yeah.
Pregnant. Gave birth, never met her newborn baby.
Wow.
And she had another daughter named Princess who was a little bit older. And Princess is old enough to process this.
Yeah, what happened?
You know, and so now Princess is looking at her little baby sister and trying to figure out how do I teach my little sister about our mom,
Right.
who was an awesome mom for her. You know,
Yeah.
crazy.
No, it's crazy. And the thing is, I keep saying, I hope the light is at the end of the tunnel here. Like I keep saying, like every year, I think I said this last year, like it's going to get better. It's going to get better.
Trying
I don't
to be optimistic.
Yeah. And I don't know if, in my mind, I'm not a doctor, y'all, okay? But I'm just saying this right now. In my mind, as I'm thinking about all of this, with people getting it at such a higher rate and it's moving really quickly, I'm like, are we almost on the end of this?
Right.
Because they say to be an endemic, people need to get it. Like we couldn't, I know the whole closing down of everything and kind of staying in your homes and hunkering down made sense. But for a lot of, doctors, they would say that you need to get this for it to come to an end, get your immunity built up and everything for it to come to an end. So I'm wondering if that's the case.
All of this was man-made. That's what's bothering me the most.
That someone created this
Somebody
for us to be
in a lab.
Yeah.
In a
like
lab.
why?
Yeah.
But why? Have you guys ever thought, because like in our years, like we've gone through a lot of different things, but they're not, I guess they haven't lasted this long because they usually create something and you don't, like H1N1, we didn't even hear about it that long. Like there's so many, like why is this one?
Obama stopped Ebola.
Yeah, like this one's like this one's like longer than any other one because everything else is just kind of quick and then they control it and then it's gone.
That up really
Please
quick.
clear that up,
That's
please.
not a factual statement.
Just us being funny here, okay? Just so
making-
you know.
It's humor.
Okay,
just me
we're having
making
fun in the
comments.
light of this.
Folks would have been like, Obama didn't stop Ebola.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Robert.
Don't watch the Urban Impact Show.
They give out false
They're
information.
lying,
They give
yeah.
out false information. Next thing you know, don't send me emails. Send them to Dewana.
See, you know what? He keeps sending y'all to me. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to click delete. No, I'm just joking. Y'all can send me as much as you want. But if people would go back and look in history, though, read about the Spanish flu. This is very similar to the Spanish flu that happened like over 100 years ago. Like, was it 1918 to like 1920? It lasted for just about 2 years. Where
Before they controlled it?
Before they got to a place to where they controlled it. And so I tend to look back at history for some of the things that we're dealing with now, because you can almost pinpoint something that happened back then. The only difference between then and now is that, we're in a different technology place.
Let's take a quick break.
Yes.
And we'll be right back with our final thoughts. It's almost 6:00.
The Urban Impact Show is sponsored by Green and Wood Media Services. Green and Wood uses digital media to help businesses, political campaigns, and organizations grow while increasing their community impact. Green and Wood Media is pleased to offer a digital media buying fellowship to train, develop, and mentor young people interested in digital media, politics, and advertising. Learn more at greenandwoodmedia.com. Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show, where we are about to close things down. We've had a really great conversation in our Freestyle Sunday of just,
interesting.
yeah, it has. I love
flowed.
having these times when we can just kind of really talk about the things that are on our mind and just, you know, interact with one another. So we're about to close things up, and I'll
go first.
You gonna go? Oh, yeah, you go first. Okay.
Let me just say this really quick. Protect our babies.
Yeah.
Protect our kids. Protect Black women. That's honestly where we have to be this year. We haven't always been the best at doing these things. But advocacy goes far beyond Facebook likes and Instagram posts.
Yep.
You have to get involved in understanding what's happening at your legislative offices, at your city council's offices, at your governor's offices. These are the people who control what's happening in your neighborhoods every single day. Get involved. Let's do it.
Brittany?
I think as we continue, I think the conversation on COVID is going to probably something that's going to continue throughout the rest of the year until we, I guess, get some type of hold on things, which I think is a little bit better than it was last year. But I protect our babies, make sure that, you know, you're in protect like our elderly. You know, it looks like this thing is like attacking, you know, the elderly, the baby. So we got to make sure within protecting ourselves, we're protecting them as well. And, you know, I think if you're still on the fence about getting vaccinated, or if you should, you know, do your research, but I think have that conversation in your family as a family, you know, but continue to protect our children. And, you know, like what Rob said, protect Black women. I think that's an ongoing thing that we should continue to practice.
Right. You know, my final thoughts are just simply this, that we need each other. You know, together we can do so much more than we can apart from each other. And I think we just need to be in spaces and places where we can support each other, where we can love one another and really help each other to live, you know, our best lives. You know, COVID right now, we're going to just have to learn to live with COVID. To me, it's just like the flu or anything other sickness that we have, is that it's going to be a part of who we are and what we do. And COVID is here, but we just need to, you know, give each other more grace. Be merciful toward one another. Like, we're all going through something. And I think that's the thing that we don't realize, is that everyone is dealing with something. And we've got to find a way to be able to give each other grace and find a way to work with each other. So here at the Urban Impact Show, we're going to continue to have these conversations that impact folks that look like us, and also people that can ally and rally around us as well. So we want you to all know that those that are tuning in and watching us right now, that we here at the Urban Impact Show, we love you, we value you, and we appreciate you. We here want you to live your very best lives, and we want you to make an impact on the world in whatever space that you're in whatever community you serve, because you are making a difference and you are doing something great. So until next time, we want you to tune in next week on the Urban Impact Show, where we continue to have conversations that will impact and change the community.
Thank you, guys. See you next Sunday.
Thank you. See you next Sunday.